Foul is Fair, Chapter 4, Bad. Talking about it on the phone when Megan's mother was home hadn't been an option for Lonnie. Letting Megan walk to Lonnie's house in the dark hadn't been an option for Megan's mother. Neither had driving her or letting her ask Mrs. Kahale for an unscheduled ride. Megan really wished that Lonnie and her dad would finish putting Lonnie's car together already. Assembling a 1992 Chevy wasn't Megan's idea of a hobby, but then she didn't have much to say on the subject of father-daughter bonding. So they'd agreed to meet first thing in the morning at the park. Of course, first thing had meant after the medical timer, breakfast, and the multicolored pills. The park was on the small side, but it was only a few blocks from Megan's house and had a playground with a slide. That also meant it typically had enough mothers with small children nearby that Megan's mother didn't mind her hanging out there. As they got older and some of the neighborhood kids started getting their driver's licenses, most of the locals started traveling further to where there was more space for actual sports, or at least fewer small children, but it had continued to serve as the favored meeting spot for the girls for now. And now it was time to discuss. A lot. Most prominent on the agenda was the crow and painted lady thing, although that had seemed even more surreal and impossible right now than it had as it happened. Despite the obviousness about the looming questions about tiny ladies with tattered wings talking to crows, Lonnie had some questions of her own first before she let Megan get a word in edgewise. "How are you doing?" "Okay," Megan said, "a little headachy. Wondering if it's some kind of hallucination headache, considering." "That would be a no. It's probably more of a readjustment to a more appropriate dosage headache." "Huh? Haven't changed my dosage in weeks." "Well, and I'm sorry about this, and I want to apologize for it right off. You did, recently. The orange pills in your room right now are just vitamin C." "Okay, that really doesn't seem like a thing that should happen. At all." "I know, and I'm sorry. I just couldn't think of what else to do, and it's an emergency." "Okay, apology accepted, and I could probably use a little extra vitamin C. So, now that we've been mature about that, for certain values of mature, I guess it's time to talk about little winged people?" "Definitely time to discuss little winged people, and a lot of other people you'd probably find even stranger," Lonnie agreed. "Let's start with the butterfly and the crow. Then we'll hit the weirder." "You're usually the one who loves the weird. Today is definitely not usual. So, butterfly and crow. Not hallucinating due to my best friend replacing the pills my mom worked so hard to get for vitamin C tablets?" "I said I was sorry." "And the apology was accepted. I'm not upset. I'm just saying that seems like a far more likely reason for things." "No, not hallucinating. The butterfly is actually a pixie. Her name is Aisling, and technically, she's the one who replaced your orange pills for vitamin C tablets. Only when it was your idea, though, right? Lonnie was the one who had apologized for it after all. She's not going to do anything else odd." "Probably not," Lonnie replied, not sounding at all certain. "The vitamin C thing was all I asked for." "And she was the one who left my window open, or did she have help?" "No, that was her." "How?" "So, first you think you're hallucinating. Now you're debating the physics of pixies?" "I wasn't even aware physics applied to pixies, because, no such thing as pixies." "Shh, you'll hurt her feelings." Megan looked around, not seeing any signs of a butterfly, though there were some crows not far away, but that was normal. "So she's listening." "Probably not," Lonnie replied with the same uncertain tone. "Sneaking around is sometimes something they do, but she usually doesn't bother. Most people can't see her anyway." "So now she's your invisible friend, but totally real." "You're being unusually difficult about this." "I think I'm being really, really easy about this, considering you just told me your invisible friend snuck in through my window in order to steal my medication before riding off into the night on her black steed. Now you're just having fun with me." "Actually, yes," Megan admitted, finally breaking into a small grin. "Now spill. Pixies." Lenny sighed. "Okay, one, it's good to have you back. This is neither your weird cult of engineering nor math class. Stop counting. Pixies. Right. So, Aisling is a fairy, specifically a pixie. Most people can only see her as a butterfly. It's not so much that she changes shape as the majority of people's minds just fill in what they're seeing with something they can accept. Most fairies are like that. So why was I able to see her? 2 reasons. First, at dawn and dusk, it gets easier. Some people can kind of see them, but just ignore it. Others can see, and then, usually a few seconds later, they blink, look again, see what they expect, and forget. And the other reason? Well, some people, assuming they're not in an overdosed haze, have a bit of an edge at seeing something from fairy as what it is. Lonnie took a breath, looking slightly sheepish. And that's getting into family stuff. But Lanny cut Megan off. "Megan, come on, we need to go, now!" Lonnie insisted, grabbing for Megan's arm. At first, Megan didn't move when the shorter girl started tugging, looking around for the source of the alarm. There were people around the park, a couple of joggers, a lady walking her dog, and a guy walking from the playfield with a bat in hand, but nothing looked immediately threatening. "What?" Lanny pointed frantically at the man with the bat and a red 49ers baseball cap. "We need to go! Run!" she insisted. Megan's brain caught up with the words and the pointing. The guy with the cap was walking casually, but definitely moving towards them. That realization hit at the same point as she remembered the park really wasn't big enough for baseball. Trusting in Lonnie's judgment amid all of the sudden weird declarations, she turned and followed her into a sprint. Megan's first glance back over her shoulder confirmed that as soon as he knew he'd been noticed, with the girls off at a run, the man in the cap was giving chase. "Lonnie!" "What?" "Redcap! Don't let him catch you!" Lonnie called back as the pair picked up speed. Both the girls and the guy giving chase ignored the shouts of the others in the park as they took notice. "Oh, what?" Megan managed between breaths, keeping up with Lonnie, if barely. She had the longer legs, but it wasn't in as good a condition. "Less talk, more running!" Lonnie shouted back, reaching the edge of the park and looking around before picking a direction and tearing uphill as fast as she could. "Where? Going?" Megan called, falling a little further behind as they hit the steep hill. "Don't look back! Run!" Lanny called before adding, "Bus!" "Bus?" Megan tried, clutching her own hat and attempting to catch back up. "Bus!" Lonnie said determinedly, turning another corner at the end of the block. She cut across the street as soon as there was a lull in traffic. A couple of horns blared as Megan charged after her, but she got across the street without getting hit. A glance back that she couldn't quite help revealed the man in the cap looking around first, then noticing the sound of horns and picking up his pace again, gaining on them despite the delay. "Cop!" Megan shouted at Lanny, now several feet ahead of her, trying to fish for her phone while she ran. "Won't help! Run!" Lonnie shouted back. Another glance back, and the man in the cap was closer still. Megan saw the bus pulling up at the other end of the block, took a deep breath, and tried to just put her head down and sprint, hoping the driver would see them. She was stopped short when a hand closed around her arm. She tried to pull away, but the grip was like a vice, tightening enough to hurt. "Megan!" called Lonnie, turning and starting to run back, before she got a good look at the person holding Megan's arm and paused, frozen in her tracks with a look of terror on her face. Megan looked back. Unnaturally yellow eyes peered out from under the cap, and though she still mostly saw the person, the man's grin just kept widening, as she would swear that he had at least 4 rows of teeth, each set in worse need of dental care than the last. She got an impression of the baseball bat being lifted. At the close-up look, despite her brain screaming at her to keep fighting, Megan froze, finding her limbs refusing to respond to her urging. There was a whispering of wind through the trees, and a black shape dove at the man's eyes, knocking the cap to the ground. As he let go of Megan, his jagged fingernails raked at her arm, tearing right through her winter jacket and leaving blood-stained streaks before he stumbled away, covering his eyes. Lonnie broke free of the trance first. "Megan, run!" Not needing to be told twice, Megan shook off the paralysis and sprinted after Lonnie, adrenaline pushing until she not only caught up, but reached the bus first. "Aisling won't distract him long," Lonnie huffed, trying to push Megan onto the bus faster. "Don't look," she added quickly, before Megan could glance out the opposite window. Lonnie quickly fished for bus fare out of her pocket. The driver, either having seen the chase or just having waited long enough, pulled away before she even finished counting out the right amount. As they stumbled towards a seat, Megan glanced back to see a crow with an oddly colorful decoration on his back flying upward, away from the man with the bat. The man glared after the bus for a few moments, sending a shiver up Megan's spine even from that distance. By the time she pulled her gaze away, he was reaching for his cap. When Megan turned her eyes back to Lonnie, her friend was looking worriedly at her arm, reaching for it for closer inspection. Megan lifted her arm and rolled her sleeve up, glancing at the shallow cuts. We'll need to clean it out really good. I don't even want to know what was under his nails, but it's not bad, Megan tried, attempting to sound reassuring. No, it's really bad, Lonnie replied, staring at the cuts and going through her pockets to try to find something to wipe at the blood with. At least we had a head start. We could get off anywhere, Megan replied. Don't tell me he can magically run after the bus or something. He won't need to, Lonnie grimly replied. He's gotten a taste of you. He can follow you anywhere. Wherever we get off, he won't be far behind. Why can't we call the cops? Or your mom? She knows about this stuff too, doesn't she? Look, it's complicated. Yes, she knows, but she's not going to know what to do about a red cap. And the pixie can't help? She has weird stuff too, right? If there were 10 of her, he wouldn't come anywhere near us. With just one, she delayed him a little, and even that was brave. Most pixies wouldn't try, and even fewer crows. Redcaps are, well, really bad news. I'm getting that impression. So he can follow us anywhere, he runs faster than I do, and we don't have any magic on our side that will stop him? I told you there were matters of life and death. I just didn't expect a redcap. At least not already. Someone is moving fast. The redcap, Megan agreed. Really, really complicated, Lonnie assured her. I might just know one place we can go, though. If I'm remembering the day right, if nothing else has happened, well, let's just say there's a lot of ifs. I'm getting that impression, Megan deadpanned. So where are we going? By the stadiums. Catch your breath, cross your fingers, and get ready to get off the bus running. This will be close.